All right, and here we go. Guys, we're joined here with my brother Tristan
What's up?
for my first podcast.
Ooh.
Wide angle view in the middle. My iPhones, you guys can see this complete setup.
It is something. A wall and a table.
It is a wall and a table.
And a couple microphones and us.
I Googled Joe Rogan setup and then ordered everything on the list from Amazon. So that's how we got here.
Yeah. Literally, when I started doing makeup, all I did was watch reviews of famous beauty YouTubers that I liked and just got whatever they recommended in those videos. So.
And now you have every single makeup item ever put on the market.
Don't, but I'll say whatever I do have, I should use more. But.
I'm pretty sure there's a giant box of them right behind this door.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
All my makeup's in that box.
Jeffree Star, James Charles.
I just haven't unpacked any of it from my most recent move because that's all I do is move every few months.
Remember that time you did my makeup?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That was a time. No, it was.
It was a time.
It was a look for sure.
Okay, so I want to explain in this first podcast. I want to get people up to speed on my life if they used to watch my vlogs, and now they're watching me in this long form, probably boring content form. I
don't think it's gonna be boring. I love podcasts. I watch.
I love them too, and I watch the shit out of them. But as I'm filming them, I'm like, this isn't good enough. This just having a conversation isn't entertaining enough because I'm used to thinking shit out and thinking all right, what are people gonna like? What's going to be interesting? I don't ever think just talking is good enough. And so it's so hard for me it's going to be hard for me to edit this. It's going to be hard for me to upload this. It's hard for me to even get in here and damn film it. I've had this set up for 2 weeks and I haven't gotten in here because
you have a million habits in your professional life to break because literally you hold yourself to too high of a standard on what you think is entertaining because the amount of things that I'll watch and be like,
that's true.
There's nothing. I don't know. I'll watch certain podcasts and they'll go on rants about things that I don't know, most people might not be interested in, but it's still interesting to listen to people who I'm interested in listening to talk about literally whatever.
Literally,
I'll listen to Lady Gaga talk all day about her favorite goddamn pudding. I don't care.
Well, I don't eat pudding, guys, but I guess I can yap into the mic. There's a fear of experimenting with what I think or sort of just saying it as we're going in a conversation without thinking it through and knowing it's not going to be edited. Because if I say something stupid in a vlog while I'm filming and I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, that was fucking cringe or that wasn't funny enough or whatever, I'm like, delete that shit. Get that out of here.
They can cringe if they need to. I watch people's podcasts and usually they all have moments that I'm like, I'm sure you meant to be funny there, but it just did not come across. But at the same time, it's like, I'm still going to watch the next one, and I really don't care.
Welcome back to the Cringe Lord podcast.
Where I'm never a guest again.
That hurt.
Well,
just kidding. You know what's going to hurt?
What?
You were the easy first contestant here, the little guest.
I am around, so I could see why.
So that's another thing I'm nervous about. Who the fuck's next? Okay, we get Tristan, my mom, my two friends I have, and then we're out of people.
And you have a lot of really bored friends literally anywhere willing to get on a plane to do anything. So.
Well, I don't know if they're willing to get on a plane or not. But I do have some friends that do flips and stuff. Yeah. I mean, the reason I wanted to call it Insight Search in the beginning was because I sort of had an idea for it to be just talk, sort of like what Joe Rogan does. Go back to him; he's an inspiration for this. To talk with people from all different walks of life, and see what insights they have and how they live and how it can better mine. We just talk about it.
For sure.
Tristan ain't gonna have no insights.
Maybe not that'll necessarily benefit you that you haven't already heard, but
that's why we're not calling it the Insights. It's just
right.
Cringe Lord podcast. So we're doing well on that. Okay, so let's go back to addressing what we've been up to. Let's assume that most people watching this
have no idea what any of us have been doing for the last 2 years, since 2018.
Once Tanner moved to California, I checked out.
The first or second time?
Yeah, which time? The fucking fourth? We could start there. Hey, Tanner, why'd you move to California 3 times? I guess technically 2. I lived in Huntington Beach for 3 months in summer of 2018, and then I moved there fall of last year, 2019, with Tristan.
Like
and
September-ish.
Yeah,
like
and we
late
lived in
September.
Riverside till February. We moved back. And then I don't even remember what time. You guys remember we lived in Temecula. I don't know. The vlogs were pretty popular then.
That was late 2000. Actually, like
2017.
August 2017.
Probably.
And we were there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Then we dipped in February of this year, the last time we moved back.
Yeah, I think the only explanation for that is the grass is always greener. Every time I'd visit there, I'm like, oh, this place is so fun. I'm having so much more fun. I have more friends out here. The weather's nicer. I can make so much more content. I'm like, get motivated for a week, and then I move out there, and I'm like sitting there just like I would at home, except paying fucking 10 times more.
I'm just not built like them. Like all of our friends out there, I mean, I love hanging out with all of them and like participating in anything that they do.
But
at the same
about like
Z,
like the flip
Z,
game
Funk Bros, any of them that
okay.
we hung out with constantly while we lived there the last time. But I'm like,
they're my crowd.
Yeah, I bond with all of them and like have friendships with all of them. But I'm like, I don't understand. I can't get on their level of productivity for like that kind of thing. I'm like, a lot of what they do like all day, every day is work related. Like rarely do they take a day off. And I'm like, I'm not someone who's going to work myself into the dirt and die.
Yeah. I'm here for fun.
I will admit, I probably need to find a balance of me wanting to do more. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I'm just not a workaholic.
This podcast is my attempt at doing more because I've been doing jack shit recently.
Yeah.
You know, Corona was the excuse for a while, and it's still a good excuse, so like a blanket excuse, but I just feel that I need to be involved in things that aren't sitting in my room playing video games.
That's fair. Well, it's also just hard to, I don't know, like they're all just so like just on their shit and motivated all the time. And I'm like, I feel like I'm not on that level. And so when that's all you're around all the time, it's like I can't find my niche here. And I feel like if I go do something more normal out there, then I'm missing out on everything that my friends are doing. I have a major case of FOMO, and I'm like, it's not my vibe. And then a few months into that, you just get to the most depressed state, or one of them that you could probably possibly get in, just because like you're.
Well, talking about not having the motivation that they do and sort of the work ethic or whatever. Like whenever we did stay at the Funk Bros in our RV for a month before we moved into that house in Riverside last year, we did watch those guys. They filmed a lot more. I still wasn't really uploading. I would maybe pick up my camera sometimes and sort of highlight whatever was going on in a sort of vlog fashion, but they would have like a whole video idea for the day, and all their friends would be around, and like they know that they had to be involved.
Well, not only that, they had their whole like next 2 weeks planned out.
Yeah,
and, like, I don't think that far ahead. I don't like if so.
We live on a day-to-day basis. They had a whiteboard and stuff. I'm like,
they're on it, but also like they're in charge of all their things. Like I feel like I have a good work ethic, but I like in any job I've done, but it's, I guess in some ways, unless I'm like just super all about it, it's hard for me to like get myself to be the boss and employee unless I'm like all about really want to do it. And they obviously do, but I just don't know that I found my niche in wanting to do that. At least with social media, like wanting to constantly be, it's a beyond full-time job. It's every hour of the damn day.
Well, yeah, people might be wondering like how I went from uploading every day for 2.5 years to doing what I'm saying now, jack shit.
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
So one way.
I have a question for the Funk Bros. Need to have them on this, or just any YouTuber for that matter. I want to sit them right there in that seat and be like, all right, why the fuck are you still grinding and working hard? I guess some people might be scared that they need a big retirement, and maybe I don't know how much money they have and whatnot, but I know lots of YouTubers that fucking have money, like enough to retire, do nothing, and they're still, you know, getting up and planning out a video that's gonna get views and bring them to the next level.
They're just built different, and they just have a different like love for it and consistent love for it. It's just been a different journey for them completely. Those two lived there their whole life. They never moved out of their hometown. They're like
born and raised in California.
There's a train. I hope you can hear that.
Yeah, this
little
studio
Tanner
is pretty
Fox.
close.
Like I just think for certain people, like when you are born into like that area and everything like is already at your disposal.
Work
like
hard
that,
and make it
it's
type.
easier.
Well,
not easier, but it's mentally easier to deal with, I feel like. And then in terms of like maybe James Charles, you just have to have an absolute love for business and working and want to do the most. Like I've heard him talk about like his like how he works and shit, and I'm like, it couldn't be me. It just couldn't be me.
Yeah, I don't have the same work ethic that I did, obviously. I used to literally wake up, edit a video from the day before till like noon, upload that shit by 3, and then film another video before it got dark of whatever was going to get views and kept people interested. I would always be thinking, what do people want to see? What would be entertaining? Yeah. And Tristan and Taylor, my whole family was involved in that when we were living in like that mansion down the road.
We were around every day, involved in all of it. Mm-hmm. And so we're like your friends.
And the reason I went so hard back then was because I felt like this thing's ramping up. Like I felt like, all right, I was just a kid in high school in Kansas who got made fun of for doing flips, and I didn't really fit in. But then I made a little bit of a name for myself on Instagram. I got some more. Then I got more followers or subs on YouTube, and then it just kept growing really fast. If you've been here before, you know the story. It got like 1 million subs. I had 10,000 subs at the end of May 2016, and then I had 1 million subs middle of September 2016. So I was like one of the fastest growing channels, and I genuinely felt, I was like, this thing's ramping up, and like one day I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna I don't know, I sort of fantasized about this destination when life would be perfect in some way, where I was like, all right, all I got to do is keep working hard and I'm gonna become this. And I think just somewhere along the line, after pumping out all those videos and making money and doing the appearances and the shows and becoming acquainted with people I used to admire and stuff, instead of feeling like I made it, I just felt a big sense of disillusionment. I felt like, oh, this is all bullshit. Like, this is all just made up. These are all just people doing a job. It's just a different job. Yeah. Right? Like, they're spending their time staying in front of your face, making content for you. And I guess I enjoy making content on some level, but I guess I don't enjoy it enough like they do to keep doing it and keep like grinding it out. I've never been interested really in like business numbers, like growing. I'm just like, why? Like if I can get gas in my car,
I mean, that's a huge part of it. It's either you're making money or you're just catering to a huge audience of people that you don't know, and that
I think that's how you make money.
Exactly. You don't care to make money, so you don't want to do that one thing that makes you money because it's like you don't.
So I upload random flip vids once every little while, and the titles are at best,
It's just harder because people, I don't know. I mean, like I'll go and watch the older YouTubers, and some of them have maintained an audience and people like holding people's attention, quote unquote, up until now, like 10 years in. And there's other people who have plateaued like 3 years ago, but I mean, they're still doing it because they have a love for it. But it's
that's the thing. Like,
just everyone's built different, and you're gonna handle the ups and downs of this specific career way better or worse than other people. Because at the end of the day, it's not just like, oh, I'm doing really good or bad at my 9-to-5 job. It's like I'm doing really good or bad in the eyes of 4 million people. And that's a lot more pressure than if I'm doing okay just to like the immediate people around me and the employer I don't really care about and the business that I like work for but don't have any ownership in. Yeah. That like to where you want to like do the best, I guess. I don't know. It's
4 million people is a lot.
That's a lot of people to try to constantly entertain
and worry about what they're thinking and whatnot. Well, okay. Yeah, I used to dream of having 1 million subscribers, and then I got it, and then I dreamed of 2, and then 3, and I just sort of wondered when I felt like it was going to pay off, because I didn't feel like it was paying. I mean, I felt like it was paying off as I was ramping up to those, but as the number kept growing and as I was doing the same thing, I was like, I feel like I'm not getting what I thought I was going to get out of this for the amount of work I'm putting in. I feel like I'm killing myself every day to stay number one, or I wasn't even number one. What even fucking metric are we using?
You were a 16, 17, 18-year-old who exhausted yourself. I'm sorry, the only working I did at like 16 was McDonald's in the summer.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, I just thought like I need to raise my status. I need to keep growing. I need to become the biggest name in whatever section of action sports, YouTube, vlogging, whatever. I don't know what I want to be. I just want to be the biggest. I want to be the best. But then
I don't think you realized that you had literally the rest of your life to do any of that.
yeah, it's just
You did. I don't know. I don't want to say that you did too much, but you put too much pressure on yourself too early. I'm like, some of these people aren't as hard to entertain as you think. I probably am one of them. Like, and if they don't, or they do like something, then they're just gonna watch or not. I just think it's like the unnecessary constant criticism from people. Like I'll read through people's comments. I'm like, I'll never understand the point of leaving any type of hate comment. Like if I don't like something I'm watching or whatever, then I'll just turn it off, or leave it alone, because it takes more energy and puts me in a worse mood to like put more energy into something that I don't like. I'm like, I'll just not watch it. I don't understand the notion that your opinion needs to be heard when it's a negative ass one.
I think it's something to do with technology being new. Like people obviously are way more confrontational online than they would ever be.
Oh my
in real
God,
life.
yeah, because
And so I think with the invention or the advent of technology, people now have this new route where they can express how they truly feel, or like that
they
sort
can
of
be
mad
assholes
side.
with like this immense amount of anonymity, and it doesn't
without-
matter. I'm
without
just
any
like,
repercussions.
yeah, and they'll go home and live. I'm like,
And the thing is, you'll read that comment from Josh A or some random name on YouTube that don't even have an identity, and like you can say like, oh, I don't care what people think, I don't care, but like we all care what people think, because what people think about us shapes who we are. Like you don't want to be an annoying fucking bastard. Whenever you say a joke that you thought was funny and no one laughs, like you take account of that and be like, all right, fucking let's figure out why no one laughed. Let's think about how I can be funnier next time. Whether or not you're actually consciously thinking of that, I think everybody on some level dicks with that. And so whenever you
I dropped my phone, my bad.
so whenever someone says like, oh, I stopped caring what people think a long time ago, I mean, you might be able to get to some level of that, but
I mean, it's not like I don't care what people think, but it's just like, it's either I care so much about what people think that it's just going to bring my ass down to this terrible mood always, or it's going to be like for my survival, I have to not care as much. Or I mean, when I've worked at like coffee shops here within the last couple of years, I'll talk to people and some of them are like in pissy ass moods. And then you could be like, oh my God, was this mean? Like, did I say something rude? Like, did I do something here? I'm just like, no, they're probably just a bitch in a coffee shop line. And I'm like, it's not everything's your fault. Some people are just dicks. Like,
you can't definitely.
I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and like shoot myself in the foot and be sad about something because someone else has a bad attitude. Like, that's not my problem. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it is and then put myself down in a worse spot for something that shouldn't matter.
We are getting some insights from Tristan here today.
I'm not a total idiot.
That's awesome. Okay, I was talking about dissatisfaction with YouTube success and success in general. I was watching YouTube videos because I always watch like philosophical, existential type YouTube videos. I was going to say motivational, but it's not really that. It's more just like how to navigate through life. I'm always trying to find answers to mental problems that I deal with that arise. And there's this guy I watched recently named Simon Sinek, I think is his name. Mm-hmm. And he talked about infinite versus finite goals. And the way he talked about it was like, finite goals is like a game of soccer. Like there's set up goals,
and there's going to be an end,
and there's
to
like
it.
a score, and there's an end. And then so if you make it, so if you say like I want to become #1 YouTuber, I want to get 2 million, 5 million subscribers or whatever, and then you reach that, then the whole game's over. Like the little finite game's over. So he talks about, I mean, I don't have this figured out by any means, but he was talking about infinite goals, like having goals that never really have an end, and that's how you get endless sort of fulfillment from them. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I feel like the finite goal of being the biggest YouTuber is literally to anyone an impossible goal to reach, because there's no such thing as the biggest that, because I'm like, you could have the most subscribers, but then like your interactions aren't as big as someone with a smaller
someone has
YouTube
more
channel.
watch time.
Well, that too.
You're never going to compete with the kids' channels.
No, you never will. You'll never ever compete with a 5-year-old glued to a screen.
Even if you tortured yourself mentally or whatever, just sort of picked yourself up by your bootstraps and brought yourself to be #1 on the platform, then all you're doing when you're in that spot is making sure that number 2 doesn't catch up and that you stay there. You always just
Well, yeah, you're hoping for the downfall of someone else, which
Yeah.
like how much more negative can you be than hoping for the downfall of someone else?
yeah, it creates envy, it creates
It
anxiety, and it creates
yeah.
unnecessary competition, I feel like. And so it's so hard for me to stay motivated in the space because I just feel like there's nothing else to get out of it. And that's why I do flips, because I want to become a better flipper and I want to be able to do cooler flips to have more fun whenever I'm out in public. So I still try to train flips, but I don't try to gain more YouTube subscribers or money because I just don't see how that would impact my life on a day-to-day basis for the better, you know? I don't know how.
Well, yeah.
Another thing I think about all the time is having goals. Okay, so I try to live my life to where whatever I'm doing is intrinsically valuable or intrinsically enjoyable. So I'm never doing anything
That like you don't want to do.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get to an end. I'm not trying to like put in a hard day's work so at the end of the day I can be happy with it, or like do something I don't want to do so I can be like, all right, well, I didn't want to do it, but I did it. I want to be like, I didn't do that to get somewhere, because you don't actually ever get somewhere. I was doing that thing because it was intrinsically fun to do it while I was doing it, and that's why I do it.
Well,
Not to get something out of it, because there's nothing you can really get out. I know you can't really say that to someone who's a construction worker and
yeah,
hates
the
it.
same can be said for things that you don't want to do. It's like if you're doing something you don't want to, like that you do want to do, you don't want to do it with like hoping to get something out of it. It's the same way doing something that you don't want to do. Like
Yeah.
if someone that you know and love needs help with something and you just, or wants to go do something and you really don't want to fucking do it, but you do it because life is not always going to be just full of things you want to do. And like you make that's how you grow your relationships and gain trust with people and gain just in life you don't always get to do shit that you want to do.
I totally agree. I guess I was more talking about in a professional standpoint, on like in a job, right? Because some people go to work and they hate their job the whole time they're there, but they're doing it for the paycheck. And I'm like, but go do something else you actually enjoy, get a little bit less money, and your quality of life would actually be way higher.
Oh, definitely.
So that's, I guess, what I'm getting at.
I've
But
done
there's definitely things like mom wants us to come help move something, and I'm like, fuck. But then we go do it. We get in the car, drive to Wichita, and load up a fucking couch or something.
Mom's happy I was productive, and the world's still spinning. So,
yeah, I'm all like, okay,
yeah,
well, at least mom thinks of me a little.
In terms of doing jobs that you like actually enjoy doing, I'm just like, congrats, Kimby. You've managed to find and excel in a career that you actually really like. So, but I know that's like, I've done numerous jobs that I didn't want to be doing. Like, again, okay, working at McDonald's. Does that sound like the freaking silver platter, cream of the crop type of job that I could ever get? No.
Yeah.
Even at 16, I didn't want to do it.
I think that's a huge fucking problem with. I'm gonna try not to cuss very much because I cuss a lot in real life.
Yeah, same.
When I'm unfiltered. I'm gonna try not to do that. I feel like I never had the McDonald's job at 16 when you did. I didn't have it.
No,
when I was 16, I was a fucking YouTuber, bro. I never had a real job. I never drove in, clocked in, and got a fucking small paycheck, and then had to like diverse my money out to make it last.
Yeah,
like,
all
I never
you
had
did
to
was
do
go
that.
straight to the top, and now are trying to avoid going to something that you've never done.
Yeah, I mean, like I mowed lawns and I worked auctions with my grandpa. I obviously know what work is, but I didn't have an employer. I wasn't an employee. I didn't work for like minimum wage at like a big chain or anything like that. I don't have any of that practical experience. I feel like if I did, I might have more pride in what I've accomplished, or at least
You'd probably want to keep doing YouTube.
I would be like scared of returning to that, or I'd just be a lot more thankful. But it's just not the case. And now I'm like, okay, I've sort of been in this situation now for years of having money and opportunity and stuff, and I don't utilize it. I don't hop on the plane and try to go grow my businesses and make more money and try to expand and take over some shit. I don't know. I just fucking sit in my room and play COD and let that shit coast. And I have some passive income from like Airbnbs and Bs that me and my mom own. Airbnbs, whatever. Bs and keys. So I have money coming in, but it's not me doing anything. It's sort of just there. And it's great. And I should appreciate that. And I do, because I can go fill up my car and I don't have to worry and give a fuck.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's no necessity driving me. I feel like I have 200 fucking... I have a huge ass pile of firewood right outside my house and no fucking reason to go cut down anymore. There's no reason. There's no necessity. And I feel like there's even no drive to go do it because there's nothing to get.
I think you're so afraid of having a bad time that you're not going to let yourself have a good time for the risk of it being a bad time. And I'm not even saying that in a critical way because I do the exact same thing. The only difference is that I don't have 2 years worth of really good YouTube revenue to hold my ass up. That's why within the past couple of years, like, oh my gosh, I've moved numerous times, like to California and then back here, like by myself, like to in with friends and shit. And like just worked normal jobs, like with them. Like I worked at a coffee shop, like for
clothing store.
Yeah. I've worked at clothing stores, like in the mall. And this is like post YouTube, like this isn't like before any of that, like that's like 2018 to now. But it's like, and I'm like, okay, I'm not having a terrible time, but I just feel like I'm not having a great one.
But I feel like also you have how many subscribers?
Like 230 some thousand.
Okay,
I think
that's
right
still a lot. And I feel like if McDonald's could have properly motivated you to take that and run with it because it was this great thing, then you would have done that, but you still haven't.
I think the thing is that with YouTube specifically, like this was your thing. There was never any point before he got to be a big YouTuber that I ever thought I want to be a YouTuber. Thought never crossed my mind. It was never a profession that I thought I was going to go into. I always wanted to do acting, like on screen, like I guess more traditional media type of like career that way.
Yeah.
And I did like dabble and start to do more of that. But I think like for me at least, it all happened at a really weird time because you hit 10,000 the same month that I graduated high school. And then by the end of that summer, you were at 1 million. And then suddenly we're going to LA and I'm like, okay, well, this put my life on hold, but who wouldn't in their right mind go and travel the world with their family and
join in the
do
festivities.
all that? Yeah. And I'm just like, so it set me back because it put me in a weird mindset because like we're living like this high life and then it low key like dwindled at a certain point. So now I'm sitting here like, okay, I have to start from somewhere. So I'm like revisiting food service and I'm done with her. I really do not foresee myself going back to that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It's just like a weird thing of having to refigure out your life from when you're at a young age, like late teens and then into my early 20s. Like it was a fast paced, different, crazy experience that not a whole lot of people do. So then like, somewhat coming down from that and not knowing like where you're going next is like not a fun thing to experience and not in any way something that, I mean, I don't regret any of it, but I don't know. I think it just like us doing it at a young age and then having just how everything's gone has put us in really weird places mentally. And we don't necessarily know how to go about the world.
You said that like you wanted to be an actor and not necessarily a YouTuber and stuff. So it sounded like you sort of had like a pretty concrete idea of what you wanted to do, an ideal profession, career.
Yeah,
that you
I mean,
would
like
aspire
Loki,
to be.
that
That
is still
sounded
something
fun,
that
right?
I would like to do.
Yeah.
And like that's something that I was going to, but the thing is, like right out of high school, I never like went and tried to do that because we just got
is
thrown
the time,
into
by
like,
the way.
Yeah, because like that, like now from when I graduated high school to now, like I have 5 cousins my age, and I think like 2 of them just like graduated college this past spring. And I'm like, I was never gonna go to college, Heike, but it's just like their past 4 years has been quote quote normal. They're both married now, the 2 that I'm thinking of. Like they're doing it's just a different lifestyle, and I'm sitting here like, I don't think I could have done that, but like now what do I do now that I'm here from where we were?
Yeah, I certainly, whenever YouTube sort of unfolded for me, like I said, and I went skyrocketed in subscribers and stuff, it literally felt like God said, like he chose me. Who the fuck with the last name Braungardt from Kansas makes it anywhere? I literally felt like, all right, this is my goddamn destiny. Like I followed the steps, I did the work, and now I'm gonna make it. Like this is my destiny. This is what I was meant to do. And but then as time went on, like I said, I was like, wait, like I'm not really enjoying this as much as I thought. I thought this was gonna be this euphoric thing, but it really wasn't. It was just a lot of fucking stress.
Because I just think it's because you grew faster than like anybody normally does. 'Cause I'm like, I look at like Mr. Beast and James Charles and Shane Dawson, or literally anybody with any type of large following. None of them did it in 4 or 5 months. They all did it. Like even James Charles, like even after his CoverGirl campaign didn't launch to like immense stardom. Like I don't think, but it's like it was like somewhat of a gradual growing process. I mean, like you did YouTube for a lot for a fat minute, and like so that gradual up to 10K was organic, and all of it was organic. But then like 10K to 1 million, that is a huge number gap, and that happened fast. And that number gap matters more than 1 to 10,000.
Yeah.
And
there was not a lot of time to learn and process
or to like
what
the
the fuck
process
is
how to
going on.
handle any of it. Like,
Any of it.
Literally,
Like when I hit 500K, we had gotten contacted by management companies in LA and all that sorts, and we got flown out there, and we had 4 meetings our first trip, and I was like, all right, cool, like this is it. I guess I'm famous now.
And I don't even think certain YouTubers now like that are small-ish are going to experience that, because just the algorithm for YouTube was such a specific way back in 2016 that it somehow launched your ass to the place where it did.
Dude.
But I'm like,
I don't like trampolines were big. I just so happened to be
it was a little
okay
perfect
looking.
storm.
Yeah, I just so happened to be the perfect little boy for that. I was good at flips, and trampolines were big, and I was uploading that content. It was family friendly. I was doing it all the time, and so all the sort of stars aligned at that time. And that's why I was like, shit, like God's fucking real, and this is my destiny. and then I just have felt sort of lost for the last few years, trying to figure out like, okay, what exactly happened? Where exactly am I right now? Where should I be heading? What's an ideal future? What do I want to spend my day doing? What's the most important thing that I should be doing? And I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. I don't have too many answers. I mean, I'm here on this podcast.
Well, probably because no one in their life really has the answer to that, and you still haven't fully developed your frontal cortex. So, like,
I have not.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm very scared of developing it live in front of you guys on this podcast.
Well, see, that's another thing. It's just like growing up. Like, think of child stars, how much of a mess they became later in life most of the time, because like they had the whole world placing an opinion and a lot of time negative ass one on kids and shit, and like into their teens, like in front of the whole world. Like Miley turned out all right, good for her, I'm happy for her, but like there's not everyone's that lucky. And so I feel like in terms of that, like it happened to you, like you just the opinions of the world, even if it is younger people than you, like in your ear and in your face all the time, does not lead to a positive like outlook on things.
And back to what people think of you, I 100% believe, like I know a huge motivating factor for me to succeed on YouTube or whatever was the fact that I sort of didn't fit in school anymore. I stopped playing sports after like 7th grade, and I was sort of extrasized from the cool kids group. I stopped sitting at their lunch table and sort of fizzled back and started hanging out with Dylan. What a fucking loser.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. No, but like I think of like a lot of the YouTubers or like people that I watch, I'm like, at least back then,
they're
like,
outcasts.
like, like not a whole lot of I watched were like the star of the football
but that's
team.
what I think, right? Like I think because of the lack of love or acceptance or attention, I guess attention might be the wrong word. It's just, I guess acceptance fueled and drove me to prove everybody wrong, to prove how good I was, to become whatever this thing is that everybody loved. Fuck you. If you don't love me and I'm not cool, I can't be in the cool kids group at school. Fuck you. I'm gonna become the coolest motherfucker ever. I'm gonna be Tanner Braungardt, the YouTuber, and I'm gonna have everybody love me.
Yeah, but like, and you, like in some retrospect did, but I think the problem fell in the fact that you were trying to accomplish that at 18. Like you tried to hit it at 18. I'm like, where does that leave you to go for the rest of your life?
But I think trying to be, I think the whole scheme was wrong though. I think to be fueled by that sort of envy for not fitting in to succeed drove me to an extreme of wanting to be accepted and whatnot and praised, that I worked a shit ton, and then I actually did have lots of people coming up to me and whatnot. Like I literally go to the mall and meet 50 people before I leave, but it wasn't what I thought it was at all. I didn't enjoy it. Tristan has watched me after meet and greets when I would make $30,000 in a night, go curl up in a hotel room in a ball and be on just be in lots of pain and anxious and stressed, and I hated it. Like I had to like physically recover from being around those people, not those people, from being around people in general. I'm a pretty introverted person. To be social, especially large scale, takes a lot of energy out of me, and I was literally like, there's a bunch of people here for me for some fucking reason, because I created this persona, and now when I'm here and I'm looking at all these kids and they all have my merch and they're buying shit, I'm like, first of all, who the fuck am I? Like, how did I even get here? And I feel like I have this pressure,
Exactly.
not now, but I feel like I did, to entertain these people, to give them what they came here. Like these kids paid some $100 and they drove to this trampoline gym or this facility. Now they're here. They have the chance to meet me. I need to present to them the Tanner Braungardt they want to see, the one on YouTube, not the one that's fucking bored and depressed and whatever, but the one that's, what is going on, guys? Today we are back. And like, I feel like they want to see that one. They want to see the Tanner Braungardt. But that was just a fucking construction made from my own insecurity. I for the most part, like there is authenticity in my old videos and my old vlogs, obviously. Like a lot of that is my real life. But there was also, it wasn't just me talking like we are right now. It was me wanting to be accepted to
YouTube
the point
is
where
entertainment. I want everybody listening to this right now to know, no matter what YouTuber you watch, it's a show. I'm like anybody, like it's not like fake. I guess I wouldn't say like for all of them, but I'm like not. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Hold on.
Okay.
We're gonna skip this.
We're gonna edit this out. Just kidding. We're not. Something I would edit out for myself.
I don't even remember like where that thought went.
It's fine.
Do you remember what I was saying at all?
No.
I've been listening to you drone on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's my podcast. I can do that.
Oh, here. It's like you were trying when you were an actual child still, like 16 years old, like trying to like even up until like 18, like you're trying to become and like I don't know, like you're trying to keep their expectations alive and not disappoint a bunch of people. I'm like, that's not. But
I feel like it was mostly me battling myself, not even what other people think. I wasn't thinking like I need everybody I meet to think I'm amazing. That really wasn't my thought process. It was I need to be amazing so that I just am. Like I was like, I'm gonna fucking buy this R8 because and things like that. Like I was getting these things to make me be this person that I wanted to be, whether it was cars or associating with these people or whatever. I was dreaming up in my mind, like, who do I want to be? Who's this accomplished person that I could end up being if I really worked for it? And then I'd work towards that, and then I'd get there and I'm like, oh, I just did a bunch of work and I don't feel any different. Like, it was cool getting here, but now that I'm here, I'm like, okay, those people are just people.
Because a lot of people's work, like the development of their work also comes with the development of their brain and like their whole life. Like people, I think of like, certain politicians, like their work has gone into their 60s, like gone into like throughout their life. I just think you try to cram too much and have too much of an expectation for like some of the earliest parts of your life.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's probably true.
And I just think like you thought you had the expectation of and I honestly, I think, I don't know how to explain it. I just think the idea that like people hold entertainers, at the end of the day, that's what it is, like to too high of a standard. I'm like, everybody puts on some type of show
and trying to get
it's
you
just
to
people
like
like
them,
literally
right?
That's all it is. Like
it's probably people that were hurt far more than the average person who just want to be accepted.
And no one is as entertaining in real life as they are on screen or on stage,
especially when edited with lighting and all this shit.
Even people who like when you see,
there's no perfect people. You go on Instagram and you're like, God damn, every time this dude opens his mouth, he's goddamn perfectly funny. And he looks gorgeous. He works out. He's 200 pounds of fucking muscle. He's 6'4". Literally. Fuck this guy. But then I've met people like that I really thought were goddamn perfect. And I'm hanging out with them. And I'm like, oh, but I still am sort of.
It can range anywhere from, oh, you're normal to, oh, you're a massive asshole, actually. So it's like you would never actually know who you're meeting.
I've met great people that are literally inspiring and that I have great relationships with.
Yeah, some people are actually just like on their shit.
And I love that. But it's never been like, I love this person because of the person they've created sort of accomplishments wise. It's always been like, I love this person because they sort of love me despite all my insufficiencies, the fact that I'm not perfect, the fact that I can't come up with all these best jokes one after another, the fact that I do stutter and say stupid shit, that my podcast isn't that entertaining, but these people still want to hang out with me and they like me. It's not like you hang out with someone and they hang out with you because you're successful and they're successful and then you both are just so happy.
Well, that's another thing. It's like whenever you're trying to make friends within like the YouTube or social media influencer space, it's not what you'd expect it to be at all. Because there's some people that are like, oh, you don't have as high of numbers of me, but like I'll still vibe. But a lot of other people, if they have like somewhat higher, they're some of their egos are painful.
It's
but
like here's why it's the analogy I like to use, if an analogy is the right word.
Making
for
genuine
that.
connections is just hard on that.
Yeah. Well, for one, people are going to come from all different places. You're going to meet people from different states and countries. If you're looking in the YouTube community or whatever, say at playlist, whenever we would go to things like that.
Yeah.
And so you're meeting people that are not from your walk of life. So it's going to be hard for you to get along with them. I mean, you guys have one thing in common. There's a lot of fucking people outside that want to meet you, but that's really it. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I see people like Charlie and Emilio or who the fuck ever, that I don't know anything about their lives, by the way. And if you're watching this, which you're probably not, I'm not calling you out or nothing. These people, I see, how old was she? 15? She got super famous. I just imagine a girl, 15-year-old, going to high school like I was, and then all of a sudden she gets a bunch of followers and she's cool now, so she leaves all of her friends that she grew up with in whatever state or whatever city, and she goes to make it in California. She's surrounded by all these people that she didn't grow up with. They don't have the similar background. They have one thing in common: they want to be fucking rich and famous. And so then you're surrounded by that, and you're not surrounded by authenticity.
And that's the basis of what you're trying to build a friendship off of. Is like how many followers you have. And
can I fit in this group or this group? It's bullshit. It's literally, and I guess that's something that's really infuriated me about it for a long time. I've always said that I think YouTube and sort of the internet in general, Instagram included, and Facebook, it's
people idolizing just
say
like
it's people in like a bunch of high schoolers, right? There's a high school popularity contest. You have the hierarchy, the coolest people at the top, and it sprinkles down to the fucking losers with their laptops, and they go play at lunchtime. It's the same shit, except on a huge scale. Now it's not just your high school, it's every high school and everyone out of high school. And it's who can be the coolest, most successful, most beautiful, fashionable, athletic person.
Yeah.
And we're all having this major competition on Instagram, and we all just shovel shit out all day. Look at me, look what I did. Look what I'm got now. I got a new car. I made a new song. I'm at the top of this list. I hung out with this person. And they don't ever come out and say that. They just post it like, hey, Post Malone's in the back of this post. Like, fucking, there's a rapper in the back here. I hung out with him. But in reality, like, me hanging out with a fucking rapper, how much fun are we going to have? We're not going to be very similar people.
Well, I don't.
But I could go do it because I could be cool, right? I could dedicate my time to go making fucking friends with the next coolest big rapper.
Yeah, let's say,
and making my Instagram lit.
So like when we went to Playlist, you hated it. You didn't enjoy any of it. I really enjoyed Playlist. Like when I was a creator there, like on like whatever, I enjoyed my time there. Like I was,
Playlist is a big.
It's like VidCon. It's a convention of like influencers and like people meeting them and all of that. So
influencers.
I was like not huge on like in retrospect in comparison to people who were there, but I'm in the same quarters as all of them. There's one year that I went by myself, I think, and I was hanging out with people that like friends I've met in years prior, like other smaller, somewhat influencers, and then there's some that I met that are really big that were super nice. Like I met Tana Mojo, and she was a really nice bad bitch, love her. And then there's other ones. I'm sitting here like, okay, we're in the same room, like we're surrounded by peers of ours, and you still have like somewhat of an ego about this right now, which I guess fair enough, but I'm like, I'm not sitting here like personally trying to latch on. Like I'm trying to make friends surrounded in a place that I don't know. I'm like, and of course the friends that I'm with are also gravitating towards these bigger influencers. So it's because it's just kind of, it's like a popular, like even if you are an influencer, like a creator at that, you are still like, it's still like you're a fan trying to like be right next to.
Yeah, you're trying to wiggle your way into the next bigger guy, and even if you're the biggest guy, you're like. And
then in a way, like for bigger influencers like that, they don't. I guess it might be fair. They don't want to be friends with smaller people because like they just think that they're trying to like be friends with me just for the sake of. Yeah, using them and to like get the money and get the fame and get the clout and all that bullshit. And so I just think the whole like back and forth of that culture has just like created a lot of just, I don't know, it's just weird. People like act weird.
I think it's just an American thing to be so anxious and so concerned about where your status is, where your status lies in society. And so even when you make it to the top, you're still surrounded by people who are have a little bit higher, a little bit lower based on your thought process of status compared to you. You're comparing yourself at that venue to, when I'm like seeing David Dobrik over there, I'm like looking at him and like look, seeing what he's doing and comparing myself to him, even though he has nothing to do with my life.
Yeah, I was there, and I'll say I never compared myself to. I don't know. I mean, like, people were still there in line to say hi to me, even if it wasn't as many. Like, it was still like somewhat of a thing. So what was the last point you made? Sorry.
Well, status anxiety, basically.
I think all of them have it because, like, even as the biggest person, like
the biggest people like to act like they don't have it. Like they're like,
oh my God,
if
but
you
they
listen
do.
to the
They
rap
have it
lyrics,
worse.
it's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't this, but then they all rap about their demons. I'm like, your demons are your insecurities. Your demons is the fact that you want to fit in and be the coolest, and you work yourself to death to be that, when in fact you just want to be loved. You just want to tell your fucking person next to you in real life, like, look, man, I'm fucking so sad. Like, I don't have the love I want in my life.
Yeah, but then they feel like they're being ungrateful if they do that. And like, as if like, if they complain about anything, then the world's gonna be like, you're so privileged that like you have all this. And I'm like, yeah, but none of it matters if you literally want to die. Like,
yeah. Well, I don't think any of it matters at all. Like,
no, and it's
if
also,
you have 7 cars and a fucking
but also, and if
mansions,
these people,
like,
they think that they reach the status, they reach the top, but now they have to worry about losing it. Yeah. And so that's their anxiety. Like, that's their thing. And like, anywhere they go out there, and even smaller influencers like do the same thing. They're out in public and they're like worrying about like what they're doing, their every move. Like, sorry, when I'm like in the middle of we'll say a Home Depot, and I'm looking for something to fix whatever at my house. I'm like, people normal, like some influencers wouldn't even be able to do that. Someone in this Home Depot would come across them, and they're always on edge. They don't even get to go out and enjoy life like normal. I'm like, if I'm in a Home Depot and I have a wedgie and I need to like fix that shit, then like I don't need to worry about some random ass person behind me wanted to take a picture, or not even that, just watching you. Yeah. Just because they don't know what to say because
high
you're there.
Status. High status is what we all are like trying to get at. We want this high status.
Yeah, but it's a curse because no one treats you like
high status isn't even a fun thing, especially when you're young, because whenever you go out to, say, if I go to a trampoline park, I have this high status there. I'm like the trampoline kid, and I'll have kids a little bit younger and come up to me, dude, I fucking love you, this, that. I'm not getting a fucking boner from that. I'm not going like, yes, this is dope. Like, I'm smiling, but it's just because I'm scared. I don't know what to say, and I'm just like, thanks, man. I have like a routine that I walk through when I'm talking to those people, right? It's not really that genuine, because I'm just like, thanks, bro. You want to get a picture real quick? I'm not really like, they tell me their name and I don't even remember it because it's not authentic.
That's why, like, whenever I think in my mind, like, if I ever was like walking down the street somewhere and ran into someone super famous, and I'll use her as an example again, like Lady Gaga leaving a grocery store, and I ran into her. I mean, my natural instinct of being loving her for the past 10 years would be something along the lines of, oh my God, just like the most dramatic interaction ever. But I'm like, I think if I wanted was to do that, I would hope now I'd go something along the lines of, I really admire you and the work you do and like your music and like the things that you've dedicated your life to thus far. I'm like, it's done a lot of good for me and a lot of people, but it's different from like that. And that I could, like, if it was me receiving that, I could have a genuine, like, good reaction to that. But when people are like, oh my God, I love you, like, you're just a blah, 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 like all these things that don't really matter. It's like, I don't know how to respond to that. And I know damn well that no one else does either. It's so, I don't know how to accept a weird compliment that you don't even understand why they're giving it to you.
And it gets old so quick. Fucking believe it gets old so quick to be told how great and amazing you are by total strangers, because it's just like, thanks, I guess. Like, that's just not a normal human interaction that has ever been a thing on. You enjoy what I do to entertain
you, but you don't know anything about me.
Yeah, it's never like, been. That's never been a normal interaction in the face of fucking on the face of this earth up until recent history, because that was just not a thing. We all lived in small tribes with our close-knit people that we all made sure liked us so that we could survive and we could depend on them, and we had
even like being
all that fun stuff. But now we're like, I want to be liked by everybody because I see everybody and how many people there are in this world. We're all interconnected. And then once you worry about it on that big scale, you lose those close-knit friendships and you dedicate yourself to, well, the opposite.
And then social media also doesn't help that, because then like your presence is readily available at all times, and like the opinions of other people are readily available about you.
But people get mad at me for not saying something on social media. I haven't tweeted in a year. People are like, your silence speaks volumes on this topic. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally 20 years old. All I want to do is beat off and fucking play video games.
You're inactive anyways on like everything.
I have no sort of opinion I feel like I need to voice on Twitter about some recent thing that's come up. People get mad at you for not saying something. Here's my thing with that.
In terms of like political discussions and like along the lines of like that sort of thing, I see people like getting mad at random artists for like not saying something about this. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Some random ass motherfucker who sings, their opinion on something is not going to sway mine.
Why the fuck are we going to a singer for advice on something that has nothing to do with singing?
Right? Well, I don't know. I don't think that because
why does status automatically
no, I don't think that because I think no matter how famous or not you are, you as an American citizen have a right to voice your opinion on things going on in the country you live.
Yeah,
but
obviously,
I think in terms of,
but you're not required to, and people act like if you have that.
No,
I'm
just
status,
like you should be more focused. I mean, you could look up. Here's the thing: you should not idolize anybody who you don't know in your direct life. I used to say, like, as a 13-year-old, I'm like, oh my God, Lady Gaga's my idol. I'm like, no, I don't know her. There's like, if I meet her in person, she could like just disappoint. I don't think she would, but like, you could disappoint in every form. Yeah. And like the person I admired, one of the people I admired most, has let me down. I'm like, you can't do that because you are not around them. You do not know them. You do not understand their day-to-day life or how they actually are.
I idolize even their close friends don't even know the entirety of them. So the fact that some people think they know the entirety of them from watching them on YouTube, especially if it's edited, especially if it's this and that, it's like you just can't gather all that.
Yeah, so stop putting such pressure onto people who you watch, because at the end of the day, it should be entertainment for you. And if you want to see change and like people like that you care about or like admire voicing things that you're passionate about,
voice them yourself.
Yeah, voice them to yourself for one.
Well, not to yourself.
Well, to yourself, but to the people around you. Idolize people in your life who are actually doing good for you and for themselves, for people like you that you care about. I don't know, the people that you see day to day, their actions doing things that you think are good.
Yeah. Bo Burnham said once in a show, he was like, someone said, "I love you," and he was like, "No, you don't.
You love you love the idea of me that I've given to you.
You love the idea of me that I've presented in front of you, and I'm flattered because I fucking spent forever on that idea. Like, I edited that shit for hours, and I plotted it out.
I don't know. It's like a weird fine line because you're like you want them to like admire you and like your work, but it's a difference between that and like having them hold you to like some weird standard and their personal opinion on things.
But people are chasing admiration. I bought my R8 and I still have my R8, not because I love cars. If I did, I'd drive it every day and know exactly what's inside of it and everything like that. All I know is I fucking paid some money for an exhaust and went and picked it up a week later. I got that item so that like it was an extension of me. It's just an item that shows like, hey, I'm worthy. I'm responsible. I've accomplished this, so I'm here, and this item holds me there. You know, it's not because I love cars and shit, and so I think a lot of people get those things. Get the Gucci.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why the fuck? Why do I have a Gucci wallet? This is fucking stupid. I don't care about Gucci. This is like $300, and I got it because I wanted to be accepted. Like, I wanted to be a part of the cool kids club. I wanted that admiration. I wanted the acceptance, you know? It's hard to admit that for people, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, like, they get it not only for themselves to be like, oh, I did this for me. I mean, at a certain point, it might be, but it's also to some people. I won't say everyone because I won't make that broad of a generalization, but.
Oh, did you wrap your car chrome rose gold for you?
For your aesthetic? Was that yours?
You like that?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You got that shit because you want to be a fucking epic YouTuber god and that you thought that was the next step on the process.
I don't know, and I will say, now that I'm thinking about it, like not everyone is like that. I mean, like I'm sorry, I'm gonna use her as an example again, but like Lady Gaga, I think like her fashion. He likes stuff,
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, but like her fashion and things, like she's had like some designer things that she'll show off, but a lot of the stuff she wears, like her has worn before, was like custom from people in her team. Like it's like she has a whole like her House of Gaga, like it's her team who puts together everything that she does. So it's like I guess I admire people like that. So it's not like just flaunting. And I also think like she just got her driver's license. And I know this because I saw like she freaking,
wait, what?
She just got her driver's license within the past like 3 or 4 years because there was a picture of her like on her hands and knees, like, oh my, like, bowing to the earth because she passed her test. Like, but you think she got super famous? Like she lived in New York, so no one drives. Then she got super famous, like, in her early 20s. And then she never had to dry, so she wasn't
Oh,
showing
wow.
off that
That's
kind
so
of thing.
funny.
Like, yeah, so like to me, she was never one that showed off like all the physical things like she was that she had. It was all artistic. But then I go to like other people that are super famous and rich. I'm just like, you on the other hand just want to show me that you have money.
So there's this lyric from this guy AJR. He makes music. It's called "Let's Hang Out" is his song, and there's a part of it that says, should I go for more clicks this year, or should I follow the click in my ear? And I like that because that's basically the two sides of it, right?
Yes.
Like you can be an artist and express how you feel and externalize yourself in your craft and work on it and be proud of it and show people. Or you can, so that would be, should I follow the click in my ear? Or you can go for more clicks this year. That would be essentially what I think I did. I stopped doing flip videos. And it wasn't like flip videos in my backyard on the trampoline like I liked it. I started doing random challenges and fidget spinner fucking 1,000-degree bullshit that was going on that I would have never done otherwise. And I think that is the thing. People are doing so much shit that they would never have done otherwise.
Changing
for
themselves
that
and
fact.
altering the direction of their careers, lives, whatever, for like just because of the opinions of other people.
Yeah. I mean, I probably not everybody feels like this. I just feel like we live in an age of inauthenticity. Like people are so scared to be themselves, and
No, we
scared
do,
of
because the
being
difference is now.
found out. They're scared of being found out that they're just who they are. They want to be seen as somebody bigger, somebody better. Everyone's terrified of just being themselves, and so we need to fucking come on, grind, man. What you accomplish? What do you fucking hear when you go to pull up to a party? What do you do?
I
What
just
do you
think
do?
It's just different now because I think of viewing someone. Okay, I'll think of being like a 17, 18-year-old in the 80s and being a 17, 18-year-old now.
Yeah.
Now it's all in your face. Everything is in front of you. The expectation is so high. In the 80s, you would look at, I think of like Rob Lowe on Joe Rogan's podcast or Madonna or anyone like that. They weren't in your face all the time. You might have seen them in a magazine somewhere, but like, oh, that's a piece of paper, and now I'm going to go live the rest of my real life where I'm not exposed to that. There's a few channels on TV, and that's fucking all.
Yeah,
and then
since we
the
live
field
in-
outside my house is as real as my life's getting, and whoever's doing is not going to matter until that CD drops in my local fucking market. And that's it. It's
And
different
that's our
now because like
big-
the expectation is to get to that. It's not as impossible as it was.
And we have this expectation for how our life should be based on, for one, we can look into everybody else's life on social media.
No, you can't.
And then it goes beyond that, what we think other people's lives are like. We think, okay, we live in America. We live in this free world. And if I'm not succeeding, it's my fault because we live in this free meritocratic society where you can make it if you try. If you work hard enough, you can be successful. I fucking done did put in the work. I've been successful on paper. I feel no different. I'm here bitching on a podcast to y'all, and you're looking at me like, damn, this guy's really got some problems. He's got some mental struggles. He's got some things to figure out. And that is all
but everyone
true. I'm
does
not
in
going to
a
come on here and act like I fucking got everything figured out. I got this. I have an RA. Like,
everyone does, but I think the difference that people
it's just not
seem
true.
to
I'm not a
forget-
finished product, and I don't think anyone
No
is.
one
And people
is.
that act like it,
That is a really good point because everyone wants to like look at their favorite celebrity or YouTuber and think they should be this type of way that they have portrayed to me, and this should be whatever I see, and this is what they should be forever until I die. I'm like,
I miss
aren't
the old
you are,
Blind.
yeah, like I miss the old whoever. I'm like, you right now listening to this are not a finished product. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care whatever. You're not done until you're in the dirt. So to think that just because someone puts themselves out on the internet that they are a finished product and that they should be held to some crazy ideal just because you think they should be is stupid.
That's true. It's just crazy, though. You know, we do put this is going to be out on the internet forever.
Yeah, but
it's an hour of us talking, and it is hard to post these things as a human being and know that stuff's going to be out there and not worry about it. You know, I felt like I was trying to explain something better. My brain's
I feel
literally
like that's
about
me all
done.
the time.
We've been an hour into this, so
Yeah,
we're
we've
about
been
to wrap
sitting
it
here
up.
yapping for a minute, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I just think the way that we portray celebrities should just not be as extreme because at the end of the day, they're another bag of bones walking down the road.
Yeah.
Like, I just
They're
can't
gonna-
stress that enough.
They're
Like,
gonna be fucking dead. All their accomplishments and shit's gonna be just as soon forgotten as yours. Like, their name is gonna be said for the last time somewhere down the line. Like, It's just what's going to happen.
Think of all the ancient like Egyptians, like the pharaohs and that are buried in the pyramids and like in their tombs with their riches. Think of how many people have gone into there and taken them to put in a museum for someone else. Like even like in death, like you did something that you thought you're going to have that shit forever. They just took it. Like it's nothing lasts forever. And everyone like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's this guy named Marcus Aurelius. He was like the head emperor of Rome or some shit for some period of time. He was like head ruler, like most access to, he was the most powerful, famous, richest dude in all that time, and he wrote tons of meditations, I think is what it's called, where he talks about it's not like the reality of it, and that was way back then, you know, and now we're just reenacting it now.
I think of this.
We're all still trying to be that, and even the biggest, coolest guy back then wrote like, hey, this is not what it is. Like, I literally... this is not where you're going to find your sense of completion and happiness. It's not any of these things.
Think of this, though. That person lived hundreds of years ago, and we're still using his name and things he talked about and did. That's the difference. Yeah. I mean, you can be however famous you want. You can be however rich you want. And you can do whatever you want. But the people from the past who we still admire and who we, like, take after today and who we, like, use as an example are people who weren't even rich and famous of their time, but who did things through their work and things that they were passionate about and have left for us now to like appreciate. I mean, we'll think of like Shakespeare. People still know who he is because of the things he wrote and the things he produced. And we found that beneficial to our culture and to us. So we still pay attention. And then there's other people who we still know to this day through name, like Caesar. Or Hitler,
people
or
we fucking hate,
any other fucking tyrant because of the bad things they did. Oh, they were rich and they were famous, but we don't remember them now for good reason. So I guess, I mean, you can do whatever you want and you can be and aspire to be whatever, but just think about, I don't know what kind of mark you want to leave.
We can't have the amount of people looking at you be the measurement for success, because Hitler will always be more famous than Marcus Aurelius because his acts were so atrocious that people talk about it.
Yeah, what do you want to be famous for?
No one's going to talk about how Marcus Aurelius was, I mean, people do, but not as many people are going to talk about how he was a great, level-headed, wise king who really had a lot of insights, and we can read about those today. Like, way less people are going to know about that than the fucking dude who exterminated 6 million people or whatever. Obviously, and so it's like the people that really want to be if you really wanted to be infamous, you'd go do some atrocious bullshit that history can't forget. And that's sad that that's like the truth. And so we can't have that be the criteria.
No,
we can't have it be the medium.
All these people who are like that we look at now, again, they weren't even famous in their time. Like all these painters, all these poets, all these architects, like at the time they weren't as big as like the tyrants of their time. But even if that is the case, which one is better to be?
Yeah, it's...
Or you could be like most people in the world and just
be okay with being yourself. Be okay with living your normal life.
Do you think every person within the last like thousands of years of human existence, like if they didn't live up to the epitome of whatever dictator or whatever artist or whatever of that time, like that their life was useless, but none of us would be here anymore because we all would have been so sad.
There's the fucking secret, all right? There's the needle in the haystack hidden deep below. They all were, even if they were like, I'm mad at myself because my life isn't everything I wanted it to be. Even if you got to where your life was everything you thought it was going to be, it's still, you're going to be in that position where
you have so much more life left to go, that where you are and where you got to where you wanted to be isn't where you're going to be, because you can't sit stagnant for the rest of your life, because who wants to do that?
Yeah. 3 years ago, I was a cool motherfucker. Now I'm just a washed up. I'm like, but people will be like, hey bro, like what happened? Like obviously my status has gone down. Even though those things I didn't disappear, just the time has made them go down. What you do doesn't stay.
And that's also a thing.
You have to keep proving yourself that you're the coolest, best motherfucker.
And there's been like businesses like that wanted to buy his old content and like spread it and like use it. And right now, but I'm like, I mean, you could make that buck, you could be rich, and you could be more famous through that. But you're sitting here now, you're at the
20 years
time
old.
19, now 20,
Oh,
and they're offering to pay you all this money, but the only version of you that everyone's going to see today is 16-year-old you from 3 years ago, and that's the fresh impression that they're going to have now. Why?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, the people who offered that, why the fuck is that a good idea to have the whole world
It's
see
not
a
worth
version of you that doesn't exist now?
Yeah.
And also, it's like to like fans and supporters of people, you can't be now at the version that someone is now, that like you can't be mad that the old them doesn't exist, because the old you doesn't exist. I'm sure there's someone out there that wishes the old you was the one that they're dealing with now, and you're not.
If someone tells me they're going to pay me $10,000 to take my old YouTube content from those 2 years and put it out on Facebook where it can grow because it hasn't reached that place yet, it only lived on YouTube, all I'm going to get, okay, I can get a new car and a bunch of fucking people coming up. How's Rose? How's a bunch of those questions that are totally irrelevant to my current life, and that's why a big reason I do want to do this podcast.
Like, the dog's good.
Yeah, like I don't want people coming up and being like, "Oh my god, like how's your R8?" Even though I have one now, and they're referring to the old one.
Yeah, like talking about the physical things in your life. I'm like, it just
it's like
doesn't
I
matter.
want come up to me and be like, "Dude, I heard you on your podcast. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool." Be like,
I want to hear about
thanks.
the things like I don't know. If I was like an artist, I'd want to hear about the things like how my work, like I don't know, impacted you, like how like it was positive on you, not personally like the physical, less meaningful aspects of like that.
Yeah,
kinda,
I just
if that
don't
makes sense.
see. I guess the point I was trying to make with the $10,000 a month analogy thing was, it's not worth that amount of money for me, and whatever status I would regain from that being pushed out there, and recycled content out there for the people that would be coming up and fucking annoying me on a day-to-day basis. Like, I could have more money for a new car or whatever, but now I got to deal with it. Now there's even more people coming up asking me questions that are 3 years old or talking to me like I'm still 16 years old. That's not what I want. No amount of money is worth that.
Who still talk about your ex from when you were like 16, 17. I'm like,
shut the
bro,
fuck
nothing
up.
will ever confuse me more than anybody being so concerned about the relationship. Like, even now, I just saw some like random Snapchat articles about like, I think it was Charlie and whoever she's dating, whatever. I'm like, the girl is 15 and you care about who she's dating. You're caring about a 15-year-old's relationship.
Dude,
if it was a 15-year-old in high school, it'd be fucking weird for you to do that. And it still is.
Dude, our journalism and on this world is just sickening. The shit that's posted is so fucking stupid. And then
the news
the fact
used to
that
actually
we consume
be
it.
something to actually source, and now it's just like the most random bullshit about things that just don't matter.
I literally get a little bit more retarded every time I slide over to the Snap Discovery or Instagram Discovery page on accident, and I'm reading
It's
this
just full
shit.
of
And I'm just like,
information that just can't
Jesus
possibly
Christ.
benefit anyone's life.
Like if people are consuming this and this is the content that people want, then we live in a sick society.
Listen, I'm all for entertainment, but I can't deal with entertainment through like the exploitation of people's
bro.
despair.
I always have chest pain, right? And I always make this joke. I'm like, guys, if I fucking fall over dead tomorrow, don't let me be a Snap Discovery page. Don't let me be fucking on TMZ Keemstars. Fucking don't let people be like, oh, he was such this. I miss him. He's a trampoline kid. He was the best. I loved him. Watched it for years. Like, no, I've been doing my own thing for the last few years. That shit's old, and I mean, it's dope that you liked it in the past.
I'm more worried about the mourning of the people who have actually impacted like directly in my life, as opposed to the random person who saw me do some random YouTube video from 2 years ago that you remember and reminisce, and that gives you all that nostalgia.
You think I'm God.
You're sad because a nostalgic part of your life died. I'm like, I get that. I've been there.
And you're sad because I didn't uphold that persona and continue it on and on and on and pretend to keep being that great person who's entertaining and famous and's got it all figured out. My life's perfect, because that's what people keep going on Instagram and YouTube, TikTok, what the fuck ever. They keep that thing going.
Just think about anytime you see someone that you follow on Instagram post something and they look happy, they look like they're living the high life, and you're like, why can't this be me? I want you to stare at just look at your phone and think, what were they going through / doing when they posted this picture? Because I can guarantee you the amount of things like I've posted, like I'm not doing that exact thing when I post it. I'm probably not in whatever mood I'm portraying. Like, you see someone smiling, I'm just like, they're probably sobbing as they're posting this.
Dude,
from something else. I don't
think
know.
about
No one's always happy. So I don't know. Take everything with a grain of salt that you see. Like, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. There do be a cloud here and there, or many of them.
There's a lot of clouds.
There's always clouds. I look out the sky right now. It's literally nothing but clouds. It's overcast
clouds.
city.
We need to stop acting like we live in a world where that doesn't exist, because that's what we do. That's what we
Not
try to
everything
put
needs
out
to be
there.
perfect all the time.
We're trying to construct this world that we want to live in.
No, listen, you're going to do the most growing and the most, like, realize the most things through your lowest points in life, through the saddest shit. So, don't dwell on it, but respect that it's going to happen, and don't think that something's wrong with your life when it does, because it's going to. And if you're just planning on, like, the most existential dread possible, like everything bad's going to happen and nothing's going good for you, I'm just like, that's what you're going to wallow in, and that's where you're going to stay. And that's... Personally, I mean, I've been there. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some fucking whatever, but I'm just going to throw that out there. Just
yeah. I think it's a good place to stop. We've been ranting for a while now. We've been on pretty much the same topic. I'm sorry if it got any bit repetitive there, but there's definitely some things I wanted to say. I kind of wanted this to be what the first podcast was based around, because it's just relevant and can push us into the next conversations, whatever's going to unfold in the future on these microphones. And like I said, I don't know what guests I'm going to have, what the hell even we're really going to talk about, but I think this was all right. I guess I'll upload it.
I mean, I'm vibing.
Yeah. Shit. Okay.
Well, on that note, thank you all for listening.
Thanks for watching, y'all. Hope all this sounds good. And, yeah, let me know what you thought, I guess. See you in the next one.
Have a good day, and if you think the sky's falling, it's probably not.
Perfect. I feel like my hair's fucked up.
Yeah, same.